In 2025, U.S. tourism is no longer just slowing down, it's splitting apart. In March, countries that once flooded American cities with tourists, like Canada, the United Kingdom, and Germany, suddenly pulled back. Flights were canceled, visas delayed, and a quiet wave of hesitation swept across borders. Now, with April's data in, the picture isn't what anyone expected. Some nations are coming back, and fast. Others, however, are turning away even harder. This isn't a rebound, it's a divide. In a world once eager to visit the United States, a question is emerging. Is it still worth it? In this video, we'll reveal 7 countries that are no longer on the same path. Some are returning with caution, while others are retreating with conviction. What happens next may redefine how the world sees America for years to come. 1. Canada. From familiar partner to fading interest. Number 1, Canada. Canada has long been one of America's most dependable tourism partners, but that familiar flow of travelers is quietly breaking down. In March, we saw a steep drop in Canadian travel to the US. Now, new April data shows the decline is getting worse. According to Statistics Canada, return trips by air fell nearly 20%, while land crossings plummeted over 35% compared to last year. This isn't a seasonal shift, it's a sharp continuation of a deeper trend. For many Canadians, the decision isn't just practical, it's political. President Trump's renewed tariff threats and rhetoric about Canada becoming the 51st state have sparked widespread resentment. Travel forums are filled with Canadians calling for boycotts, with some even canceling long-planned U.S. vacations or selling their properties down south. Instead, they are choosing other destinations, especially Mexico. Canadian visits to Mexico rose by 15.6% in March compared to last year, and Airbnb bookings from Canadians surged 27% over the past year. As Mexico's tourism secretary explained, "I think they are choosing more friendly policies." Airlines are adjusting too, with Air Canada cutting U.S. routes and adding flights to Cancun and Puerto Vallarta. For decades, Canadians led global travel into the U.S. But in 2025, the message is shifting. April's data makes it clear that the pullback is accelerating. However, just as one neighbor pulls back, another longtime ally is starting to show signs of return, though not without complications. 2. United Kingdom. The return that doesn't feel secure. Number 2, the United Kingdom. At first glance, the UK appears to be coming back. In April, travel to the United States jumped by over 15% year-over-year, a welcome headline after a sharp decline in March. However, the pattern isn't linear. In March, tourism from the UK dropped 21%, while business travel rose by the same amount. In April, that flipped. Tourist visa arrivals jumped 20.7%, while business travel fell 15.2% compared to last year. This odd shift points to something deeper. Vacationers may be coming back for spring getaways, but business travelers, the ones who stay longer, spend more, and signal deeper confidence, are pulling away. And the reasons go beyond budgets. As The Guardian reports, many UK travelers are rethinking US trips amid rising border anxiety and political uncertainty. Immigration lawyers now advise clients to scrub their phones and social media, warning that even lawful visitors could be denied entry based on their views. One civil liberties lawyer put it simply: the safest approach is not to travel with data you wouldn't want the US government to access. While the UK may be returning on paper, under the surface, the relationship is still strained. And while that strain lingers quietly in one corner of Europe, just across the border, another country is turning hesitation into retreat. 3. France. From hesitation to retreat. Number 3, France. In March, France showed signs of pulling back from the United States, with total travel down 8% year-over-year. In April, that retreat didn't slow, it accelerated. Total arrivals dropped by 12.2%, with both tourism and business travel falling sharply. Business visits, which had been rising in March, fell by 13.6%. According to the BBC, some American tourists in Paris are now covering logos, hiding flag pins, and even carrying Canadian badges, hoping to avoid unwanted attention. One visitor expressed the sentiment bluntly: "We're sick about it. It's horrible, after taping over the US flag on his cap. If that's how some Americans feel walking through Paris, imagine how French travelers feel about entering the US. One recent poll found that 73% of French citizens no longer view the United States as an ally. France's top travel guide publisher reports a 25% drop in US guidebook sales, while interest in Canada and other alternatives is rising. As one expert put it, they don't want to spend their money in the United States. This shift reflects deeper disillusionment, tied not just to tariffs but to broader frustrations over how America has treated its allies, from Ukraine and Greenland to Canada. Former French President François Hollande put it bluntly, "The American people remain our friends, but Trump is no longer our ally." Even as some step back in protest, others move forward, only to find themselves questioning whether they should have come at all. 4. Germany. A rebound masking deeper doubt. Number 4, Germany. On paper, Germany seemed to make a comeback in April, with total arrivals to the US up nearly 15% and tourism rising more than 23%. However, a broader view reveals a different story. In March, Germany recorded one of the steepest declines among major travel partners, down 28% overall, with tourism dropping 36%. While April saw a brief recovery in tourism, business travel has since collapsed, falling by 23.5% after showing growth the previous month. So, what changed? Fundamentally, nothing. In fact, the headlines have only worsened. This spring, multiple German travelers made international news after being detained at US borders. A 19-year-old was strip-searched in Hawaii, a permanent resident was locked up for 2 months, and a Berlin tattoo artist was jailed for 6 weeks while trying to visit a friend. These stories shocked German audiences and eroded public trust. Germany's foreign ministry issued a travel advisory, warning that even valid visas do not guarantee entry. The foreign minister called the treatment of German citizens unacceptable. This retreat goes beyond tourism. In a national poll, 94% of respondents said they would never buy a Tesla, reflecting a broader backlash against American brands. Airfares from Germany to California have dropped by half as demand falls in one of Germany's favorite US destinations. While Germany pulls back with growing intensity, across the Pacific, another country isn't retreating or returning, it's simply standing still. 5. Australia. A travel relationship on hold. Number 5, Australia. From a distance, the numbers suggest stability. In April, travel from Australia to the United States increased by just 1% year-over-year. Tourism ticked upward slightly, but business travel quietly fell by over 7%. Total visits remained far below pre-pandemic levels. This isn't a comeback, it's a stall. Australia's largest travel agency, Flight Centre, reported that leisure travel to the US fell by 16% in April, while business trips dropped 7%. The CEO described it as a significant downturn. A recent national poll adds more context. The US fell from the 5th to the 7th most popular international destination among Australians this autumn. Only 6% of travelers are planning to go, down from 8% the year before. Simultaneously, the Australian government has updated its US travel warnings 3 times since April. New advisories caution travelers about strict border enforcement, electronic searches, and the need to carry valid ID at all times, even on domestic flights. Some LGBTQIA+ travelers are taking extra precautions by memorizing lawyer contacts and deleting phone data before departure. This isn't a rejection, it's a hesitation. The dream of visiting America still exists, but for now, many are holding it at arm's length. However, in another corner of the world, the hesitation isn't quiet, it's turning into something more personal and political. 6. Denmark. Quiet cracks in a longtime alliance. Number 6, Denmark. At first glance, Denmark appears to be returning. In April, travel to the US rose by nearly 10% year-over-year, led by a rebound in tourism. However, just 1 month earlier, overall travel had collapsed by 34%, and tourism was down nearly 45%. Even now, the trend is unstable. Business travel, which had shown growth in March, reversed course in April, falling 29.1%. Student travel continues to decline. This pattern suggests not a retreat but an absence of confidence. Moreover, the tension runs deeper than travel statistics. In May, Denmark summoned the top U.S. diplomat in Copenhagen after reports that Washington was spying on Greenland's independence movement, an issue deeply tied to Danish identity. The foreign minister labeled the incident very worrying, emphasizing that you cannot spy on a friend. This mistrust is impacting everyday choices, from what people buy to where they feel welcome. Carlsberg, which bottles Coca-Cola in Denmark, noted a decline in Coke sales due to a growing boycott of U.S. brands. This sentiment is fueled by tariffs, political rhetoric, and moves like the attempted Greenland takeover. Although Denmark hasn't severed ties with the U.S., the relationship feels less certain than it once did. While the dust appears to be settling, another shift is emerging, one driven not by headlines but by values. 7. Sweden. When values shift, so does travel. Number 7, Sweden. In April, travel from Sweden to the U.S. rebounded by 21.6% year-over-year, with tourism rising more than 22%. However, this surge followed one of the steepest declines in March, when total arrivals dropped nearly 17%, and tourism fell 25.6%. Notably, not all travel sectors are recovering. Business visits, which had increased the previous month, reversed sharply in April, falling by 22%. Student travel has remained flat, reflecting a mixed picture. For a nation known for its global curiosity and cross-border engagement, these shifts are significant. For many Swedes, the hesitation isn't about logistics but principle. A recent YouGov poll revealed that 63% of Swedes now hold an unfavorable view of the United States. This change is tied to concerns over politics, border treatment, and perceived differences in values. Quietly, some companies are postponing business trips, while travelers second-guess their itineraries. Public discourse increasingly reflects discomfort with the idea of traveling to the U.S. For Sweden, travel is more than just tourism, it's cultural exchange and identity. Yet in 2025, the United States feels increasingly out of step with both. This isn't a protest, it's a pause driven by conscience rather than fear. Across these 7 countries, the reactions to the U.S. are diverging. Some are pulling back, while others are cautiously returning. Final thoughts. What this divide really means in nearly every case, one trend stands out: business travel is falling even where tourism rebounds. This pattern suggests a deeper issue, not just in policy but in perception, how people feel when they think about visiting the United States in 2025. This shift isn't just about numbers, it's about sentiment. When sentiment changes, recovery isn't measured in charts or bookings, it's measured in years. Because the divide isn't just about flights and visas, it's about trust. And once trust breaks, rebuilding it takes more than just enticing tourism campaigns. It requires a fundamental shift in how America is perceived on the global stage.